single ad. This is gorgeous. Also, like, I want one. I just
Oh,
probably
not
don't need to
again.
buy more.
Have we?
Mm, there we go. Hey, Fraser, how you doing, buddy?
I am really good. I'm good. I'm good. I've got an advert for you this week, which is a little bit different than what we usually do. I think we have done a
Oh,
similar. I think there was a Hue lad that was maybe a little bit similar to this that we've done, but I think they've done a really nice spin on this, and so I wanna have a conversation about it.
let's have a conversation about it, man. That's what we're here for. Let's
Yeah.
help some people out. I'm
Let's
ready,
do
man.
this.
Let's have a good
Let's do this.
time.
Okay. All right. So this is this week's ad creative. Okay. Let me know what you think. So it is what looks like, well, it's going to start off probably fairly expensive to make this advert. This was probably not cheap because it looks to me entirely 3D. So unless
Mm,
they have like a 3D artist who works for them already, probably had to outsource this and was probably pretty expensive. And as we all know, just because an ad was expensive doesn't mean it worked, doesn't mean it converted.
that's
And us
true.
having it on the show also doesn't mean that it converted or worked. But I think this is interesting to speak about because I think this is a really well rounded, nice, high production ad that has a few assets in it and elements that really push it to more towards that this has been thought about when it comes to like on platform. Like I'm sure there's many brands that would have just run the top screen, which is like the bag
Sure.
flying up in the air. Like, I'm
Yes.
sure there's many brands that would just do that and call it a day. But what they've added is like almost like a SKU selection thing at the bottom,
Yes.
which kind of elevates this to like a social friendly area because you have portrait is such a brilliant format of of aspect ratio, and I love that we are in this era now where so much of our content is consumed in portrait. And I love that because it gives you so much real estate to be creative with. And this is a great way to be creative with it. Like a lot of the time, the stuff inside a portrait video is probably only taking up like actual real estate, like a square. You could crop it down to a square and it'd be fine. And so they've gone, okay, well, let's not waste that with like a color or a logo. Let's show off the rest of our product range.
Yes.
Why not?
Yes.
And
I
this is
love
great.
that.
This can work in apparel. You can do this with different SKUs at the bottom. You can animate this like you can just have a single line of the SKUs and you can have them scrolling through. Like there's a lot of different ways that you could optimize this and show off your show off your product range. And I think they've done it really nicely. They've done some really lovely 3D stuff where halfway through we cut to a different shot and we actually show how this works in action, that it can slip onto your travel handle of your bag. I think it's really nice, and I think it's been really thought about, which is really important for this style of ad creative.
Yeah, it's incredibly intentional, and that's the thing that I'm glad you called it out because I was gonna if you didn't. The fact that they show effectively what kind of looks like the shopping catalog that you see at the bottom of Facebook ads anyway,
Yeah,
sometimes,
exactly. Yeah,
and like including that right away. Like what I love about that. So let me talk about one of the biggest misconceptions people have with ads. They think if I'm running an ad to this product, that's what people are gonna buy.
hmm
And I can assure you that if that's your assumption, you are missing a very big part of how people shop.
yeah,
Like getting somebody in the door with something doesn't mean they're going to leave with that same thing. One of the things I tell people to do all the time is build out custom conversion events for all the different all the different product catalogs you might have, all the different verticals you might have, all the categories that you might have,
yeah,
or if you have a smaller SKU, like if these are my 8 products, I'm going to have a
mhm,
custom conversion event for these 8 individual SKUs. And
yeah,
inside my dashboard on Facebook, I'm going to see this ad's running. What are all the SKUs that it sells? Because
yeah,
if I'm clicking on this ad and I go to this landing page, I'm assuming the landing page probably has some beautiful, also very well done, high level, landing page that's got this at the top, and then right below it, hopefully, is all of these similar products. So, like, if
yeah,
I liked the backpack but I didn't want the bag, but I saw it in this ad. I click on it and then immediately can go to that and then move
Mhm.
forward. And we have to think about ads are really good at conditioning consumer behavior and expectation, but it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily have to be to do. A lot of times there's incidental behavior or things that we didn't plan on, and things that were not necessarily part of the design that really come in. And I love the fact that they took that, instead of having that be incidental, not part of the design, it was brought into the intentionality of the design of the creative from the
Yeah.
get. And the other thing that I love about this is how easy would it be to also just cut off the bottom and run that as a separate ad unit?
Exactly. Like, yeah, you have like straight away you have a variation built in, and you need to look at
Yeah.
how you can implement stuff like that when it comes to making creative. Listen, I spoke to a massive brand last week, and one of the main things that they were struggling with was they knew they had to start doing variations, and they knew they had to do, the usual stuff that everyone's talking about when it comes to ad creative testing, but they didn't know how, and they were really struggling to implement that within their current in-house team because it was such a big mentality switch, right? But
Mm.
like you said then, well, what about if you build like variations into your creative, just like this, where all it takes is an editor to crop something and you instantly have two ads instead of what you had before one. And I think that's a great way of thinking about it. And you know what, that's probably how it started. I can kind of see this in,
Mm.
in the creative room of it just starting as that top bit, and they were like, man, this looks great. And then, someone came up with the idea, okay, well, that's great, why don't we make more of an effort, for the portrait real estate that we have, and let's add something in at the bottom. And that for me is my key takeaway with this creative for you is, listen, you have this huge screen which is in someone's hand. Make the
Mm.
most of that space and be creative with what you do, because we are so often seeing the same ads on our feed all the time. It's just a carbon copy of different ads all the time. If you do something differently with that screen that's in someone's hand, they are much more likely to remember you. They're much more likely to go back and rewatch that video, and they're much more likely to actually engage with it, which for an advert is a big thing to ask for someone. So be creative with what you have and the space that you've been given, and just really try and push what you can do creatively when it comes to your ads.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. And the two other things I want to call out here real quick is just that, first off, as somebody again that's like not good at creative, but I can repurpose the shit out of things.
Mhm.
I'm taking stills from this render and I've got a ton of static images.
Yeah.
Also, I love that it's incredibly stylized. If we have something similar for every one of those products, they don't even need to necessarily have the same color scheme. I would even maybe potentially say, like, hey, can I get a different color scheme for each one of these items?
Mm.
But if it all has the same layout and the look and the feel, I am building recognizability.
Yeah.
And I'm getting that, like, oh, it's another Reigns ad. I know that without having to watch it, which means even if somebody watches
Yeah.
1 second of the ad, I'm getting the value of that impression.
I love
And
that.
I feel like so many people put this emphasis on hook rate and forget about like the the ability for somebody to remember the
Mm.
recall, right?
Yeah.
That
Oh, yeah.
recall is
Recall's
such a
massive. Yeah.
high point.
Yeah.
And so my point to that is just like inside of our ads, like understanding that we have sort of that. If you can build ads that are of a similar concept, and I would consider,
Yeah.
the still images and the videos and the same thing for everything, that brings so
Mm.
much more value above and beyond the hit rate of any one of those particular ads because of what it
Yeah.
can do omni-channel. Because now we like, if it does cost me a fortune to build this,
Yeah. Make the
I
most
can
of it.
use this on everything. And I
Yeah.
can
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's like we're not just killing the buffalo for the meat. We're going to use every
Mhm.
single bone, every single inch of everything, and
Yeah.
thank the gods that we got one, because like there is so much value in this,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
though
Yeah.
it looks just like a single ad. This is gorgeous. Also, like I want one. I just
Oh,
probably
not
don't need to
again.
buy more.
Have we have I managed to sell you once again on another product?
Potentially, I don't. I
It's the
got a
oven
duffel for
all over again.
Christmas, and my wife got me a suitcase for my birthday last year. But this does look really. You know who needs this is Rabba. Rabba Rahil does too much traveling, and American Airlines keeps
Yeah.
screwing him over. We need to get him some reins.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, well, yeah, I think
All right.
I I really love that idea that you said about the recall. I think that is really brilliant. And there's a reason why your favorite TV shows start with the same introduction all the time. It's so that you
Mm-hmm.
can recall it and you can make sure you pay attention. And I don't see enough people doing that in ad creative. And I really love the idea of being able to, you've seen this one ad, you've watched 75% of it, Facebook knows you like it, and so they're going to give you another one that looks very similar, so you watch another 75% of it, and then you're on the
Mm-hmm.
landing page and you're buying a bag. I think that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
and
I love that.
yeah, and that's where the beauty of we were talking previously um about how the customer journey is more complex, right? And in the salty face video that we did,
Mhm.
the fact that I can get your attention with those videos, and
Yeah,
then a month later, 3 months later, I can show you a static from any one of these products if it fits, and
yeah,
it immediately harkens back to the entire emotional connection that I invested in building before.
yeah,
And so if I run the whole year just getting all of this stuff, come Q4, I can just smash all the images, and I'm just going to
yeah.
round up all of that social equity and proof and intent that have been building up. And I think so many people forget that it's not just
Mhm.
about the money I spent today made me money today, because
Yeah.
the
Oh
money
man.
you spent
Yeah.
today is monetizing attention that you've been earning for weeks or months or
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. 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 I couldn't
Yeah.
couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're everything when it comes to ad creative, everything when it comes to organic creative, you are not spending money which you will see a return on right now, but instead, you are spending money on attention, and attention can be called upon at any point.
That's what it is. As long as you got good recall, and I think that's what
Yeah.
brings it full circle. And this is legitimately gorgeous. I'm gonna have to walk this one off. I think cold shower and put away the credit card. All right, Fraser, I'll let you go, man. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week, buddy. And hey, keep up those newsletters, dude. I'm really loving the nice ads. It's been helpful to say the least when I'm on a call as somebody with no ability to understand creative. I have referenced ideas. It's like, well, you can do something like this. And then it looks
Yeah, I
like
love
I'm on
that.
top of my game. So thank you very much.
No worries, man. Yeah, thank you very much for having me. As always. See you
Yeah.
next time.
I'll see you. Bye.